When I was a teenager, I started dating this white girl when I was working at the movie theater. This was literally one of the first times I had even had a chance to interact with white people because I went to all black schools growing up, and I really didn't count it as anything special. It just kind of randomly happened. Like, we met because she was a new employee at work. I trained her on some stuff, and then from there we was just like, hey, you want to start dating? We were both 18 at the time. I was in high school, about to graduate. And so we started dating, but then we realized we didn't really have a lot of chemistry. All right. And so this was the first white girl that I met, but the experience doesn't end there. I'm actually starting that part to show you everything that happened because I had dated this one girl. We're going to call that white girl that I dated Becky because that's a basic generic white girl name. Now, when I met Becky and started dating her, I also met her stepmother. Her stepmother was Cuban. So Becky is white, stepmother Maria is Cuban. Maria ends up getting a job at the same movie theater that me and Becky are working at while me and Becky are dating. Me and Becky eventually break up after a few weeks because we realize we don't really have a lot of chemistry for a relationship, but we have chemistry for a friendship. After that, I continue working at a movie theater. Nobody quits. The actually, yeah, Becky gets fired or something. Well, eventually, she gets fired, but her stepmother keeps working there. Maria's still working there. One day, I'm at the ticket tearing booth, minding my business, and Maria's in the box office where you sell the tickets. This was a slow day, so we didn't have many customers. It was the middle of the day, and she comes over to talk to me while I don't have any tickets to tear, and she starts telling me about our marriage because I asked her. I said, "Why are you working here? You're you're 30. You could probably work a full time job and make more money. I'm 18. I'm in high school, so it makes sense I'm working here. Why are you here?" She says, "Well, it's because my husband doesn't really spend a lot of money on the things I want, but he does take care of the house and he has two businesses, so he does take care of the main things. I just need money to buy extra things that I like." I said, "Oh, that's cool." I said, "I mean, your husband, he must be really a really good guy, though. He's taking care of everything." And then she starts to tell me what the problem is. She says, "No, he does take care of stuff financially, but he does not take care of me." I said, "Okay, what does that mean?" I don't know anything about marriages. I'm only 18. My parents did not stay married the whole time that I was growing up, so I didn't know really what marriages are really supposed to look like. She says, "Well, he doesn't show me any attention, not really any affection. I don't know the last time he really touched me or kissed me. We haven't had anything intimate in the bedroom in at least 6 months." And I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me. There's no way." She says, "Why do you say that?" I said, "I'm looking at you right now. You know how many dudes would want to," and I'm trying to keep it a certain level because we're at work. I'm like, "You know how many dudes would," I'm looking at you right now. I would. Like, if I was your husband, psh, I'd be, girl. I was trying to not say too much. And so she gets a little flattered. She's like, "Oh, really?" She was like, you think I look good or something?" I said, "Yeah, but I think most people, like I say, if I just randomly ask one of the other guys that work here, I'm sure they're gonna say the same thing." I was like, "Why do you not see? You can't see, like, I'm looking at everything. You got a nice face, you're pretty, you seem cool. I said, you got a nice body and everything. What kind of guy wouldn't be all up on you?" This turned her into being, this was the start of the craziness. Yeah, because something about me complimenting her like this, I guess since she didn't have it from any guy in a very long time because she was in the house most of the time and then this is her job, she didn't get a lot of interactions with men. This is probably one of the first times she's heard this in a very long time. She starts to tell me that she has always had some little fantasies about me. And she says, "Well, guess what? I had kind of been thinking about you too." She said, "I think you look really good. And I had been thinking about you." And so now I'm looking around like, because I'm at work, I'm like, "Oh, make sure nobody's hearing this." I'm like, "Really?" Because I'm not expecting this from a 30-year-old lady. Mind you, I never really dated outside my race. I've been with black girls all my life up until then. I'm 18. I had been with like 12 to 15 black girls, and that was it. Never even thought about dating out my race. And then also, this lady's married, so I'm like, what is she doing? She says, listen, I had fantasies of you coming over to the house and jumping in our pool and taking your shirt off. I'm like, yo, chill. We at work. But at the same time, I'm like, tell me more. She says, yeah, I've seen you dance before. It made me fantasize what your body looks like under all those clothing. And I've told my stepdaughter, we've talked about it before. And I'm like, hold up. In my head, I'm thinking, you telling me this 30-year-old Cuban, like, lady, oh my gosh, I'm like trying to deal with this process. I'm like, oh man, this is tempting. But she's married, so I'm starting to think, I can't risk this. I'm an 18-year-old. She's married to a grown man. I can just get killed in this situation. And so I lead her on a little bit by letting her know. I riz her up back. I return the riz to her and let her know, like, yeah, you fine and all that stuff. I start boosting her head more, but I never really try to push, like, hey, let's meet up, blah, 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 because I'm like, I don't really see how anything could really happen. So what she did after that day, she proceeded to put her foot on the gas pedal. Like we basically had like a work relationship going on where she would show up to work and she would wear certain perfumes for me. She would wear certain underwear just to show me the special underwear she wore for me because she wanted me to touch her after work and things like that. She wanted me to meet her places after work. So she would come, if she saw me in the break room alone, she would lock the break room door just so she could, like, make out with me or flirt with me, all kinds of stuff. It was wild. And I had to go back a little bit. Before she could make out with me, she had to stop smoking. And she stopped smoking just so she could make out with me. And I'm not making this up. The reason that I know this is I asked her stepdaughter. The first time that the mom, Maria, she tried to kiss me, I said, wait a minute, you smoke cigarettes. I don't kiss girls that smoke cigarettes. I don't kiss women that smoke cigarettes. I had a rule because I'm not a cigarette smoker, so I hate that. And she says, what? You don't kiss? I said, yeah. I said, I'm never going to kiss you. I don't care like how physical and stuff we're getting. I can't kiss you. Fast forward 3 weeks later, she walks up to me and she said, hey, you can kiss me now. She was all excited. Hey, you can kiss me now. I stopped smoking. I look at her and say, no, you haven't. Nobody just stopped smoking. People don't stop smoking, especially not for a guy or just so you can kiss somebody. I went and asked her stepdaughter without letting her know. And her daughter said yes. She said, yes, she actually has not smoked in 3 weeks. She has quit. And I'm like, why are you quitting smoking for an 18-year-old? You're married. What are you doing? But I did started making out with her. She would lock the door to the break room. I'd make out with her after she get off work. We make out in one of our cars and stuff. She even bought a burner phone so she can communicate with me. And that's when I knew things were going too far. Because by this time she bought the burner phone. She bought it for me because I was going to college. She wanted a way to communicate with me without getting caught by her husband. So she bought us burner phones to communicate. And that way she can still meet and see me because I wasn't going to be working with her anymore. And that was the main way that she saw me. And I knew that I had to get out of there. She used to bring me cheese dip and soda so that I can eat it with nachos, like in the back of the kitchen. Like that's where we made the nachos. So she would try to accommodate me. She'd say, hey baby, I brought you some cheese and some Sprite. And I'm like, what are you doing? In my head I'm saying that, but I'm like, oh, thank you, I appreciate you, you better not get yourself in trouble. But I'm like, what is this lady doing? But I was all over this lady, feeling on her, making out with her. I did not smash because I was too scared to meet her outside of work and do something with her because I always felt if I take that risk, her husband's gonna find out something eventually. She tried to give me the burner phone. I denied taking a burner phone before I went to college. I said, look, I can't take this. The fact that you have to do this is way too risky. Now, this woman was beautiful. Long. You ever seen a Cuban? Long, beautiful black hair, beautiful body. Like everything was just popping out everywhere. I was just like, oh my gosh. It was nothing but temptation. So that was like my first white girl I dealt with that led to the first Cuban person, Cuban lady that I dealt with. Cuban lady happened to be 30. I chose not to go further because I knew it was such a risk. I said, I'm not dumb. I might be 18, but I'm not dumb. The husband may eventually find out, and I'm a dead little boy. I ain't even grown to a man yet. And I said, I'm not trying to have that, even with all the stuff she was doing to me. Like, technically, it was mostly like harassment at some parts by what she was doing to me, like at work, like locking me in the break room so we can get physical. And I'm like, you gotta unlock the break room. Somebody's gonna try to come in. Then they're gonna know something suspicious. Like it was so much crazy stuff. Staying after work for an hour or so, trying to talk to me. I'm like, you gotta leave, or your husband's gonna try to find out where you're at. What are you doing? But that was my experience. White girl led into her Cuban stepmom. First time I ever messed with any women that were not black my entire life. And from there, I became more open to just trying all different types of races of women. And I don't have a particular type. I like all of them.